I have a meeting tomorrow with a high-ranking executive from a major enterprise company. Coming from a background of just a high school graduate, you live in a completely different world.
Harris, a classmate I hadn't seen in over a decade, said with a condescending smile on his face. Harris looked down on me and boasted about how superior he was, even now. He had been that way since high school. He ridiculed me and believed he was in a superior position. But, nice to meet you. I'm the person in charge of this meeting. The next day, as the person introduced themselves during the meeting, Harris's eyes widened in surprise and his face turned pale. My name is Kevin. When I was a freshman in high school, my father's company went bankrupt. My family suddenly became poor. My father managed to find another job. My mother, who had been a homemaker, started working part-time, and I quit the club activities and spent my afternoons working part-time. The fact that my father's company went bankrupt quickly became a school-wide rumor. Harris, the central figure in our class at the time, had been teasing me about it. Others followed Harris's lead and mocked me. They called me a poor guy. While there may have been kind-hearted people who secretly worried about me, no one dared to openly approach me because of Harris's intimidating demeanor. Except for one person.
Kevin, are you okay? Aren't you working too many part-time jobs?
Mary, thanks, I'm okay. The only person who genuinely cared about me was Mary, our class representative. Mary was the only one who treated me without worrying about Harris's eyes. She was the only friend I had during high school. Without Mary, I might have given up on going to high school due to Harris's relentless teasing. However, one day, as high school graduation approached, when Harris found out that I would work without going to college and just having a high school diploma.
Seriously, are you gonna plan to work as a high school graduate? Being a high school graduate is at the bottom of society. You're a confirmed loser in life.
With raucous laughter, my classmates began to insult me right before their eyes. Someone who had been observing Harris's and my interaction chuckled. Their laughter was in agreement with Harris. I would be the only high school graduate in this class. The high school I attended was a preparatory school, so it's quite rare for a high school graduate to graduate from high school. Considering the circumstances, Harris would often ridicule me by calling me a high school graduate at the bottom of society. However, I couldn't say anything in response. All I could do was endure in silence. Damn it, why our family is so poor. With a bitter feeling, I entered society and worked desperately. I couldn't bring myself to say I want to go to college to my parents, no matter how much it pained me. My parents are working ourselves to the brink of physical exhaustion just to repay our debts. I can't let them suffer any further. I really want to go to college, but I don't have the money or the time to save up and study. What's the meaning of my life? Every single day, I work tirelessly to repay the debt. Without realizing it, I'm wearing down my spirit. Then, one day, by chance, I finished work early and decided to pass the time at a bookstore. I was idly flipping through books, not intending to buy anything. Suddenly, my eyes fell on a stack of red books. Come to think of it, it's already the season for entrance exams. I picked one up and started flipping through it. Against all odds, the dream of going to college, which I had given up on, began to resurface. I hurriedly tried to put the red book back in its place.
Are you Kevin? Long time no see.
Mr. Smith. I turned around when I was suddenly addressed, and there stood my high school mentor, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith had helped me countless times with my studies, and I would often seek his advice on personal matters as well.
What's wrong? You seem quite worn out.
Mr. Smith asked with his gentle voice, and I felt everything I had been holding in begin to overflow. After we moved to a nearby cafe and finished our conversation, Smith made a proposal.
I can't help you with financial matters, but I can assist you with your studies.
What?
It's easier when you have someone to teach you rather than studying alone. If you want to go to college, look into scholarships and various programs available. Don't forget there's also the option of bachelor's degree certification. Don't struggle on your own. Rely on me.
His words were so reassuring that I found myself shedding tears without realizing it. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Afterward, I visited Mr. Smith's house during breaks from work and received lessons. I researched and concluded that obtaining a bachelor's degree certification was more realistic for my situation than going to college. Getting the bachelor's degree certification would broaden my job opportunities. With that, my salary would increase, and I could save money as well. It's never too late to go to college if I want to. Thanks to Mr. Smith's guidance, I successfully obtained the bachelor's degree certification.
Hey, Kevin. There's a job opening at a company my acquaintance works for. They require a bachelor's degree, but since you've obtained the certification, why don't you give it a shot?
Yes, absolutely. Right after getting the certification, I was fortunate enough to receive a job referral from Mr. Smith, and I was able to switch to a much better job than my current one. It seems like I can finally see some light in my life. After the job change, I worked tirelessly. To repay Mr. Smith, you introduced me to this company, and to save money for future college expenses. One day, while working hard as usual, a school reunion brings back memories. I received a letter about a high school reunion invitation. Although I didn't have the lively high school experience with everyone, maybe Mary will attend. I want to update her on my current situation and express my gratitude for being my supporter. With that in mind, I replied the invitation to join the reunion. I looked forward to seeing her and eagerly waited for the reunion day. And then, on the day of the reunion, I arrived at the venue and immediately started looking for Mary.
Hey, are you Kevin? Long time no see you.
It was Harris who approached me in an over-friendly. It had been over a decade since we graduated from high school, and I hadn't seen him once. However, his face remained unchanged from those days, and he wore a sly and vulgar grin. Long time no see you. Are you doing well? I replied with non-committal words.
Yo, you seem to be doing well too. What have you been up to since high school? Oh, I see. You're working with just a high school diploma, right? Your life must be tough, isn't it?
While pretending to sympathize with words, he kept that unpleasant smile on his face.
I enrolled in the Harvard University and got a job at a major company. You know about it, right? It's called More Enterprises. You must have heard the name, right?
More Enterprises. Well, I've heard of it. Harris chuckled proudly.
I have a meeting tomorrow with a high-ranking executive from a major enterprise company. Coming from a background of just a high school graduate, you live in a completely different world.
Then, in a familiar manner, he put his arm around my shoulder.
You know, how did you even manage to come to this reunion? Everyone else here has a college degree. You're the only bottom-tier high school grad. The social underclass doesn't belong in this gathering. Just go home.
I did get a bachelor's degree certification, but I hesitated to reply him. However, before I could speak, Harris's arm around my shoulder was forcibly removed by a third party.
Harris, could you please not bother Kevin?
Damn. The class rep is as uptight as ever.
Let's go, Kevin.
Saying that, the one who took my arm was the grown-up Mary. She separated me from Harris and turned to face me.
Long time no see you, Kevin. Are you doing well?
Mary, yay, I've been doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. Hey, what have you been up to since graduating from high school? Tell me all about it.
Afterward, the two of us exchanged updates on our lives and got animated in our conversation. In the midst of our chat, we discovered that we both enjoyed camping, and we made plans to go camping together in the near future.
Well then, let's exchange contact information and also our social media accounts. This way, we can stay in touch anytime.
Yay, that sounds good. I'll think about some camping locations for us.
Great. I'm looking forward to it.
Although the reunion had been slightly interrupted, I had successfully reconnected with Mary as originally intended. Furthermore, we had made plans to go camping together. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be a rewarding experience, and I returned home in high spirits. I was feeling a bit down when thinking about work tomorrow, but looking forward to the plan with Mary makes me feel like I can do my best. Tomorrow was a work day, and there were important negotiations scheduled. So, I tried to suppress my excitement and went to bed early to prepare for the next day. And then, the next day, for this negotiation, the representative from the other company had come to our office to give a presentation. I entered the prepared meeting room and greeted the representative for the first time. Nice to meet you. I'm Kevin, the one in charge of this project. Thank you for being here. I extended my business card as I greeted, but there was no response from the other side.
Dumb. Is something wrong?
My boss, who was present, asked the other person with a puzzled expression. That other person was.
Why?
In a small voice that only I could hear, he muttered. It was understandable that the other person was surprised. After all, today's negotiation partner was none other than me, the person Harris had ridiculed so much during our high school days. Yes, the person I was negotiating with today was Harris. The super high-profile executive that Harris was boasting about yesterday was actually me. I had suspected it when I heard his story yesterday, and it turned out that he was indeed my negotiating partner today. Afterward, with a pale face, Harris stumbled over his words, and his co-worker, Johnson, who had accompanied him, provided support. Ultimately, Johnson took the lead in the presentation, and after the negotiation,
Hey, come over here for a moment.
Harris secretly called me over and led me to a secluded corner of the hallway.
Why are you here?
While Harris still didn't quite grasp the situation, I let out a big sigh and patiently explained everything from scratch. I explained how I had obtained the bachelor's degree certification under Mr. Smith's guidance while working, how I got a job at a super high-profile company through Mr. Smith's referral, and how I had worked diligently to repay Smith and eventually even got promoted to department head. After I finished explaining everything, Harris let out a deflated voice and said, "I can't believe it." I could see the shock on Harris's face as he realized that he was actually in a position lower than mine, despite looking down on me all this time. And once more, I let out a sigh and said, "You remember bragging about your affairs at the reunion yesterday, right?"
What? Well, you see.
At our company, we have a strict policy against infidelity. We can't trust someone who engages in affairs as a business partner. I'll request that your company reassign your responsibilities.
Wait a minute. We're friends, aren't we?
Harris clung to me and said that, so I couldn't help but laugh. Friends, have you forgotten what you did back in high school? It's convenient how you conveniently forget your past actions. My only friend is Mary. You're just a classmate, not a friend. I said this and shrugged off his arm. Harris could only watch me leave with a look of despair. Afterward, I requested that Harris be removed from his responsibilities along with his infidelity. However, this situation escalated into something unexpected. Turns out, Harris's affair partner was the receptionist at one of our business partners, and Harris's wife happened to be his superior. Harris's wife was furious when she found out about the affair. She contacted the HR department, and it seems Harris received both a transfer and a demotion as a result. Getting involved with a colleague's wife and angering his own boss, Harris found himself with no place left within the company.
Perhaps retirement is just a matter of time for him. I heard his wife is in the process of divorce and seeking alimony.
The person who told me this was Harris's coworker, Johnson, who was newly in charge. It seems that Johnson's performance in the presentation that day had been highly praised. Harris had been using him as a pawn, and Johnson was relieved when Harris was no longer around. Thanks to the talented Johnson, the negotiation was successfully concluded. I look forward to future dealings. Even though work keeps me busy and can be challenging every day, I find it very rewarding and enjoyable. Next week, I'll be going camping with Mary, and despite the hectic schedule, there's a sense of fulfillment. I owe this kind of life to Mr. Smith. I'll continue to do my best to live a life I can be proud of, just as my teacher would expect.